Right, right.
Well, I was at Oxford when the Maastricht Treaty was passing through Parliament,
yes.
and I remember the incredible excitement on the 2nd of June 1992 when the news came through against all expectations that Denmark had voted no. And I and a bunch of friends started going from pub to pub in Oxford ordering Carlsberg. And when we got to the 4th or 5th pub, the landlord said, "I don't know what's happened tonight, but we've run out of Carlsberg. Everyone's ordering it." And that was when we realised that it wasn't just us who were excited. Imagine if the EU had responded to that vote in 1992. How much trouble we'd have all been spared if it had evolved in a different direction. There was almost no anti-EU sentiment in the UK until Maastricht. It began when the European Union stopped being a community of nations and primarily focused on trade and economics and entered into all the other fields of culture and foreign policy and immigration and criminal justice and defence and all the rest of it. Of course, there had been people arguing for those things right from the beginning, but it was only with the Maastricht Treaty that that became official, that became the orthodox way forward, and it was no longer just one among a series of competing visions. And that was really the birth of modern British Euroscepticism. If, in those talks, there had been any willingness to decentralise power, any acknowledgement at all, but look at it from the point of view of a British voter.
Right.
And this, I think, is when it became clear that Remain was in trouble. As they saw it, we had gone as the second biggest financial contributor to Brussels, and asked for some reforms, and had come back empty-handed, and people thought, wow, if this is how we're treated now before we've even voted, how will we be treated if we vote to Remain? And I think at that moment it became inevitable. Find me one example of where the European Union has ever returned a power. The European Union is a conveyor belt, and we took the decision to step off that conveyor belt in 2016. Right? There's no acknowledgement since from anyone in Brussels that maybe the direction was wrong. The reaction here from everybody has been we need to go ahead with more fiscal integration, more military integration. So there's no question in my mind that the direction is towards political integration. Everybody here is quite honest about that. I mean, it's plainly, if you speak to anybody here, the objective is to turn the European Union into something more like a single country. Nobody denies that here. It has one by one taken on all of the attributes and trappings of statehood: a flag and a national anthem and a parliament and a currency and a tax system and external borders. And the idea that this is all some Eurosceptic fantasy, that none of it's been happening, is just ridiculous. But I would rather live in a country which is a full democracy and where people can take responsibility for themselves, and in general, if voters are given more responsibility, they behave more responsibly.
And you're saying that today the UK, before Brexit, until that day, that fateful day, the UK is not an independent democracy?
That's correct. The supreme law on our soil was not UK law or parliamentary statute. It was the EU law, just like it is in Denmark and in every other member state now.